Good evening. Anything that we discuss today is going to be for educational purposes. I'd like to welcome you all to Digital Trading Floor. It's a platform where we disseminate financial data in real time to provide actionable insights using live streaming technology. So follow along as I navigate the market by trading in my own account, and hopefully you will learn how I analyze the data in real time to make trading decisions. The purpose for making this video is to analyze Nifty options, open interest data. We would be analyzing Nifty on multiple time frames. We would be framing a view for tomorrow, Friday, 26th March. And apart from the index, we would be discussing our stock watch list. So let's start by analyzing Nifty options, open interest data for 1st April expiry contract. So the max pain level is at 14,500 for 1st April contract. So if market was to expire on 1st April at 14,500, in that scenario call option and put buyers at 14,500 strike are going to suffer a large amount of losses, as at that strike, as you all know, that when market expires, large percentage of options they expire worthless. If we analyze the overall open interest data for 1st April contract, you will see that highest amount of puts have been written at 14,000 strike and highest amount of calls have been written at 14,500 strike. So it gives us a broad range of 14,000 to 14,500 for the index till 1st April. And if you were to see what happened intraday, you will see that highest amount of calls were written at 14,400 strike and 14,500 strike, and highest amount of puts were written at 14,000 strike. So as discussed earlier, it gives us a broad range of 500 points on the index. If we analyze Nifty on multiple time frames, you will see that on the monthly time frame, market is currently under control of sellers below 14,702 levels. And if you were to see overall, we are forming an inside month as the price is currently in between the previous monthly candle range. So inside candles are formed when there is an equilibrium between both the buyers and the sellers. And based on the monthly candle for our analysis purposes, we will say that market is under control of sellers as market is currently trading below its opening print, which is at 14,702. And on the weekly time frame, you will see that in terms of price structure on the weekly time frame, we are now forming lower highs and lower lows, and we are also trading below the weekly open, which is at 14,736 levels. And if we see the daily time frame, you will see in terms of price structure, we are again under control of sellers on the daily time frame below 14,570 levels. So you will see that we had full time frame continuity to the downside. That is, sellers were aggressive in hitting the bid today, as on all the time frame market was trading below its opening print. That is, on the monthly time frame market is under control of sellers, it's a red candle. On the weekly time frame, again it is under control of seller below 14,736, and on the daily time frame we are trading below the opening print. So on all the time frames market is under control of sellers, and this is what we call as full time frame continuity. And in terms of price structure, as we have discussed earlier, we are making lower highs and lower lows, and based on the daily time frame we get the following scenario for tomorrow, Friday, 26th March. Above 14,324 we can trade towards 14,479 levels, potentially 14,575, and 14,659 would be an outlier if it were to happen. And on the flip side, below 14,264, which is today's low, we can potentially trade towards 14,180 levels, 14,134, and potentially 14,013 levels. And the neutral price range for tomorrow is going to be 14,324 to 14,264, in which one can refrain from making any trades. Now we are going to be analyzing our stock watch list for tomorrow. The stocks that we have chosen are Magma Fincorp, Praj Industries, and Larsen and Toubro. So it was very tough for me to find stocks that had formed inside candles on the daily time frame. So these are the stocks which I was able to find, which have relatively large amount of volumes, relatively speaking. So in Magma Fincorp, you will see that on the monthly time frame, it is under control of sellers below 122.4. On the weekly time frame, again, it is under control of sellers below 117.95, and on the daily time frame we formed an inside candlestick. So the higher probability trade would be if we were to look for selling opportunity below 112.8 levels, and as it's an inside candle, the lower probability trade would be if it were to break the today's highs, which is 119.45. We can look for buying opportunities, since on larger time frames it is under control of sellers. The higher probability trade would be to look for selling opportunities. So if one can establish normal position size if it trades below 112.8, and if it breaks today's highs, in that scenario one can reduce the position sizing to half. Our second stock is Praj Industries. So on the monthly time frame, it is under control of buyers above 166. On the weekly time frame, it is again under control of buyers above 163.95. On the daily, we formed an inside candlestick. So the higher probability trade is going to be if we look for buying opportunity above 185.1 levels. So if it trades above 185, we can establish a normal position size. However, if it breaks to the downside below 174.1, we can also establish short positions, but one can keep size relatively small, as it would be a low probability trade in Praj Industry. And our final stock is Larsen and Toubro. So it's again an inside candle. So we'll look for buying opportunity above 1,389 or selling opportunity below 1,361 levels. And in between the high-low range, we'll not be making any trade in Larsen and Toubro. Before ending this video, I like to summarize that tomorrow above 14,324, we can potentially trade towards 14,479 levels, and below 14,264 levels, we can potentially trade towards 14,134 levels. And broadly speaking, we're in a 500 point range based on the overall open interest data for 1st April weekly expiry contract, and the max pin is at 14,500. And if it were to expire on 1st April at 14,500, in that scenario, option writers are going to suffer lowest amount of losses, theoretically speaking. And the stock watch list comprises of Larsen and Toubro, Praj Industries, and Magma FinCorp. And as you all know, inside candles are formed when there's an equilibrium between both the buyers and the sellers. So if it breaks either side of the range, we look for an entry in these stocks. Finally, I'd like to thank you all for watching this video. Do hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe to Digital Trading Flow YouTube channel.